Welcome back to another Explainer. Today we're diving into what is literally the most fascinating cinematic collection of teams at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We are talking about Group C. You know, this isn't just your standard tournament bracket. It's this incredible story of history eerily repeating itself. It's a quest for ultimate redemption, and it's a classic clash of absolute titans going head-to-head with some incredibly gritty underdogs. Okay, let's dive into this, because the script for Group C is, well, it's almost unbelievable. 1998. That was 28 years ago. Now, you might be wondering, why does that matter? Because back in the 1998 World Cup, Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland were drawn into the exact same group. No, seriously. And now, almost 3 decades later, these three nations find themselves facing each other all over again in the exact same competition. It's like a giant puzzle perfectly falling back into place. The ghosts of the past are very much alive here, setting the stage for some massive psychological battles.
So to make sense of all this, here's our roadmap for the Explainer. First up, the ghosts of 1998. Second, the new tournament format. Third, the Titans, Brazil and Morocco. Fourth, the underdogs, Scotland and Haiti. And finally, the ultimate verdict and predictions.
Part 1. The Ghosts of 1998, Destiny and Droughts.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the staggering timeline we're looking at. It's not just about the last time these teams met, it's about the immense emotional weight resting on them today. I mean, these footballing nations have been agonizingly waiting for glory. Take Haiti, for example. They haven't been to a World Cup since 1974. That is 52 years. Scotland, their last appearance was that fateful 1998 tournament. And then there's Brazil. The 5-time champions haven't lifted the trophy since 2002. That's a 24-year drought, which, let's be honest, feels like an absolute eternity for the most demanding football nation on earth. The pressure in this group is literally suffocating.
Moving on to Part 2, the new tournament format, a lifeline for the underdogs.
Going into 2026, the mathematical rules of the World Cup have fundamentally changed. We now have 48 teams and a massive 104 games spread across North America. Now, the top 2 teams in the group still advance automatically, just like always. But crucially, the 8 best third-place teams across the entire tournament also advance to a brand new round of 32. This is a huge deal. It acts as a massive lifeline. It means teams like Scotland and Haiti don't actually have to beat a powerhouse like Brazil to keep their dreams alive. They just need to steal enough points, maybe a crucial win or a strategic draw to scrape into that third-place safety net.
Section 3. The Titans, Brazil and Morocco, giants under pressure.
Both of these teams are top 10 globally ranked heavyweights, but they are dealing with uniquely immense expectations. Let's start with Brazil. 28. That is the dismal number of points Brazil managed to scrape together in their qualifying campaign. To put that into perspective for you, this was the worst qualifying run in the legendary history of the Brazilian national team. They suffered a staggering 6 defeats, finishing 5th in their group. The crisis was so severe, it forced the Brazilian FA to do something they have never ever done in their entire history.
They appointed a foreign coach. So the big question is, can Carlo Ancelotti fix a broken Brazil? The cultural shock of appointing an Italian manager really cannot be overstated here. Brazil is the historic home of Jogo Bonito, the beautiful improvisational game. But after 24 years without a World Cup, they basically traded pure flair for Ancelotti's ruthless defensive discipline and structured transitions. He was brought in to stabilize a sinking ship, and yeah, while he did secure their qualification, the jury is still very much out on whether this marriage of European structure and Brazilian flair will actually work when the pressure really peaks.
And that brings us to the elephant in the room, Neymar. Ancelotti has been ruthlessly clear, stating, "We need players at 100% right now." Look, Neymar is Brazil's all-time leading scorer, but the reality is that from 2015 to 2025, he suffered at least 33 reported injuries. He missed almost 4 years of football in total. So, Ancelotti's strict physical mandate creates immense tension around his inclusion. Neymar is on the squad, but Ancelotti is likely going to use him very strategically, perhaps as an impact sub, relying instead on the incredible pace and fitness of guys like Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha.
And this brilliantly illustrates the situation over in Morocco, which is vastly different but equally tense. Back in 2022, under Walid Regragui, Morocco produced a defensive miracle, right? They became the first African nation to ever reach the semifinals. They conceded almost nothing. But look at 2026. Despite recent successes, Regragui is out. In comes Mohamed Wabi, an untested senior coach whose success has entirely been with youth teams. He is stripping away some of that elite defensive shell for a risky, possession-based youth revolution. Leaving out veteran heroes to build around younger stars and pure possession? That is a massive, massive gamble for a team currently ranked 8th in the world.
Part 4. Underdogs. Scotland and Haiti. Desperation and diaspora.
These are two teams fighting incredible odds, driven by decades of national sporting pain. If you want to see a true David versus Goliath matchup, well, this is it. On one hand, you have Brazil. 5 titles, ranked 5th in the world, a roster absolutely dripping with Champions League winners. On the other hand, you have Haiti, ranked 83rd, playing not just for a win, but for the pride of a nation fractured by intense political instability. In fact, Haiti couldn't even play a single qualifying match on home soil. This squad is built entirely of diaspora talent, players of Haitian heritage who grew up in France, Belgium, or North America, like their rapid new striker Wilson Isidore. They carry the incredibly heavy hopes of a displaced nation.
Then we have Scotland. Manager Steve Clarke knows exactly what his team is. They don't really want the ball. They use a highly compact 4-2-3-1 formation, they defend for their absolute lives, and they rely on the ruthless exploitation of set pieces. And at the center of it all is Scott McTominay. His rebirth in Naples has been stunning. I mean, he was the Serie A Player of the Year. He is their absolute ultimate weapon. It was his spectacular bicycle kick in the qualifiers that booked their ticket here. An act of sheer audacity that actually got him celebrated on a Scottish banknote. No way, right?
Haiti's approach under French coach Sébastien Mignet is quite similar in spirit. They're going to set up with a deeply compact defensive shape. What they lack in elite European experience, they make up for with high motivation and absolutely fearless energy. Their entire game plan relies on absorbing wave after wave of pressure and then launching lightning-fast counterattacks, using the blistering pace of Wilson Isidore to try and shock their vastly superior opponents.
Finally, Section 5. Verdict and predictions. Who survives Group C?
So the crucial point is, how does this actually shake out? Well, Opta's supercomputer gives Brazil a 60.4% chance to win the group, taking an expected 7 to 9 points. Morocco, even with their coaching gamble, has far too much quality and should safely take second with around 6 points. Scotland will likely sit in third with 3 or 4 points, praying that the math saves them and grabs that round of 32 lifeline. And Haiti, despite a super-spirited and emotionally charged effort, is predicted to face an early exit.
But, football isn't played on a spreadsheet. On June 13th, when the whistle blows in New Jersey and Massachusetts, all of these numbers go straight out the window. So, will the ghosts of 1998 repeat their devastating history, crushing the dreams of Scotland and Morocco all over again? Or will the sheer desperation of this unforgiving group finally birth a new, unforgettable miracle on the pitch? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, guys. I literally cannot wait to see how this unfolds. Catch you in the next one.